Welcome to Piece of History.
Sometimes entire cities just vanish. They get swallowed up by the earth, leaving behind just whispers of a world that was. Today, we're talking about one of those places. This is the story of Banawali, a city built on the banks of a ghost river. But to really get Banawali, you gotta start with a much bigger question. What kind of secrets can a lost river even hold? Because the fate of this city, it's completely tied to the story of an ancient, almost mythical river that first gave it life and then, well, took it all away. Okay, so let's picture this. Our story kicks off right here in modern-day Haryana, India. On the surface, it just looks like a huge, dry plain, but just under all that dust lies the ghost of a waterway, a really powerful river that once shaped entire civilizations and held the key to Banawali's very existence. So this river, the Sarasvati, it wasn't just some little stream. For centuries, it was this massive, year-round river, the absolute lifeblood for countless settlements. But then, around 1900 BCE, something catastrophic happened. The river just disappeared. And when it did, the fate of cities like Banawali was sealed. So for almost 4,000 years, this entire city and its river were just gone, wiped from memory. So how in the world do we know any of this? Well, for that, we have to fast forward way into the 20th century, when archaeologists started piecing this incredible puzzle together. And you can thank this guy, Dr. R.S. Bisht. Between 1974 and 77, he and his team just meticulously dug through the site, peeling back the layers of time to uncover a city blueprint that had been lost for millennia. Imagine you're with that team. You show up to this totally flat landscape, and the very first thing you'd see is this, a huge man-made hill just rising 10 meters into the air. It's this literal bump on the horizon that basically screams, hey, something really important happened here. And when they started digging into that mound, whoa. The scale of what they found was just staggering. This first number, 6 meters. That's the thickness of the city's main defensive wall. To put that in perspective, that's wider than a lot of 2-lane roads you drive on today. And the height of that wall? 4.5 meters. I mean, can you even picture that? We are talking about a city built over 4,000 years ago, with these massive, well-planned walls, all made from molded bricks. This wasn't just some village, This was a serious, well-organized city. Okay, so you've got these incredible walls. That immediately makes you wonder, right? Who were the people living behind them? What was their day-to-day life actually like? Well, the artifacts they left behind give us a really fascinating peek into their world. And what they found inside those walls, it paints such a vivid picture. You've got people living in planned houses built from uniform bricks. They were making sophisticated pottery, and they were skilled farmers. We know that from the charred barley grains they left behind. But they were also really resourceful. They found copper fishhooks and finely worked bone tools. And check this out. The beads and bangles made from things like shell and copper and semi-precious stones, it tells us they really cared about beauty and art. But maybe the coolest part is the evidence of continuity. They found a perfectly preserved well, somehow still standing after thousands of years. They even found a touchstone, which is a special tool that goldsmiths use to test the purity of gold. You see, these weren't just one-off ideas. These were traditions, skills being passed down that connected these early settlers to the later great Harappan civilization. Now, out of everything they found, a couple of artifacts are just showstoppers. We've got to zoom in on the clues they literally carved in clay, because they tell this incredible story about just how ingenious the people of Banawali were. Seriously, think about it. You've got this booming city, but the river system is getting unpredictable. How on earth do you make sure everyone gets fed? How do you become masters of agriculture in a place like that? Well, their answer was found right there in the dirt. It's a small, kind of unassuming clay object, but it represents a massive leap in technology. It was a rare, perfectly preserved model that would change our entire understanding of how they farmed. And here it is, a terracotta model of a plow. Now, this might not look like much, but let me tell you, this is one of the most important things ever found at this site. It's direct, physical proof that they were using advanced plows to work their fields, which let them efficiently grow crops like barley and support a whole urban center. But hey, life wasn't just about farming and surviving, right? It was also about business, culture, and belief. Archaeologists found dozens of these little seals, carved from stone and clay. Think of them like ancient company logos or signatures, used to stamp goods for trade. And the intricate designs, like unicorns and rhinos, they give us a peek into their mythology, while the inscriptions point to a system of writing that, to this day, we still can't fully crack. This is the hallmark of a truly complex, urban civilization. So, we've built this picture of a really advanced, thriving city. But we already know the ending to this part of the story. It didn't last. And to figure out why, we have to go right back to where we started, that river. This timeline, it really tells the whole story of creation and destruction, and it's all about the river. For centuries, the Saraswati is this nourishing, life-giving force. Banawali is founded and it thrives because of it. But then around 1900 BCE, massive tectonic shifts, we're talking powerful earthquakes, literally rerouted the rivers that fed the Saraswati. Its water supply was just cut off. The Great River died, and the fertile valley turned into the dry plain we see today. So what's the big takeaway here? Why does this one city matter so much? Because Banawali isn't just some ruin in the middle of nowhere. It's a bridge, a crucial link between two different worlds. It captures this pivotal moment in time, showing us exactly how these early Proto-Harappan cultures grew, innovated, and eventually transformed into the massive, sophisticated Indus Valley civilization that would define an entire era. And that just leaves us with one last, incredible thought. Banawali was just one city, on the banks of one lost river. The Saraswati Valley was once home to hundreds of settlements. So you have to wonder, how many more are still out there, buried beneath the dust, just waiting to be found?